How to water plants comes down to one free habit. 4 diseases gardeners dread most: powdery mildew, rose black spot, tomato blight, gray mold. What if one small habit tilts the odds against all 4 at once? There is. Water the roots, not the leaves. Today, the disease finale. I am Mickle. I bring every villain back to show how drip irrigation thinking and a soaker hose habit take each of them on. Let me tell you how I found this out, because I did not start out knowing it. I learned it the slow way, one lost plant at a time. My roses got black spot, my tomatoes got blight, my strawberries went to gray mold, and my courgettes powdered over. Each time, I would sit down afterwards and try to work out what went wrong, the way you might go over a bad shift in your head. And here is the thing that eventually stopped me cold. When I lined up all my little disaster reports, the cause written at the bottom was, over and over, the same 3 words: wet leaves too long, different diseases, different plants, different months, same underlying cause. It is like accident reports at a bus depot. You read enough of them and you notice they rarely blame some freak exotic failure. Turn to the cause page, and it is nearly always one of a handful of basic things not done. Watering is exactly the same, 4 diseases, and when you get to the root of each one, so much of it comes back to foliage that stayed wet for too long. Once you see that thread, you cannot unsee it, and you water differently forever. Let us line the suspects up, because you have met them all this series. First, rose black spot. The classic British rose disease, those black-edged blotches on the leaves. The spores overwinter on fallen leaves and splash up onto new growth, and they need that leaf wet to break in. Second, tomato and potato blight, the summer killer from last episode. Warm, wet weather, spores on the breeze, landing on wet foliage and destroying a plant in days. Third, gray mold, the fuzzy gray fungus that rots strawberries in soft growth. It thrives in still, damp air on wet plant surfaces, which is exactly why we water strawberries at the root and keep the fruit off the wet soil. And fourth, powdery mildew, the backwards one, the white dust on courgettes and roses. Now that one is the odd one out, and I will come back to it because it does not fit the pattern the way you would expect. But look at the first 3. Black spot, blight, gray mold. Every single one of them needs the leaf to be wet to get going. 3 of our 4 worst enemies share the same doorway. So why does a wet leaf matter so much? It comes down to how these fungi and molds actually get in. A dry leaf surface is a surprisingly hostile place for a spore. It lands, and if there is nothing there, it mostly just sits and fails to establish. But give it a film of water on that leaf, from rain, from dew, or from a hose sprayed over the top, and everything changes. The spore can absorb water, swell, and germinate, pushing a tiny thread into the leaf and starting the infection. Water is the key that turns the lock, and the longer the leaf stays wet, the more chances every spore gets. A leaf that dries within the hour is a hard target. A leaf that stays damp all evening and through a muggy night is an open door. So when you water over the top of your plants in the evening, you are not just wetting the soil. You are laying a film of water across every leaf and leaving it there overnight, which is the single most welcoming thing you could do for black spot, blight, and gray mold. Keep the leaves dry, and you slam that door on 3 diseases at once for nothing. Now I promise to deal with the odd one out, powdery mildew, because it would be dishonest to sweep it under the rug. If you saw the earlier episode, you know mildew is the backwards disease. Unlike the other 3, it does not need a film of water on the leaf to get started. It attacks plants that are dry and stressed at the root, sitting in still, stuffy air. So you would think, fine, for mildew I can water over the top to fight it. And here is the beautiful part. You still should not, because wetting the leaves to fight mildew would immediately roll out the welcome mat for black spot, blight, and gray mold, the 3 that love wet foliage. You would beat 1 disease and invite 3 worse ones. So even the exception leads you to the very same rule. For 3 of the 4, keep the leaves dry because wet leaves feed them. For the 4th, keep the leaves dry because wetting them helps the other 3. 4 diseases, different reasons, one conclusion. Water the roots, not the leaves. It really is the golden rule, and it holds even where you would expect it to break. So here is the myth this rule quietly demolishes. A sprinkler is a lovely way to water, quick and even. And surely a nice gentle shower is good for the plants. For a lawn, honestly, a sprinkler is fine, and cooling foliage on a scorching day has its place. But for your disease-prone plants, the roses, the tomatoes, the strawberries, the squash, an overhead sprinkler is close to the worst tool you can pick. Think about what it actually does. It throws water up into the air and rains it down over the entire plant, soaking every leaf, top and bottom, again and again. It is a machine for keeping foliage wet. If you had set out to design a device to spread black spot, blight, and gray mold around your borders, you would struggle to do better than an overhead sprinkler running every evening. The water that lands on the leaves does almost nothing useful anyway, because, as we said right back at the start of this channel, plants drink through their roots, so a sprinkler on your veg and roses wets the one surface you want dry and mostly misses the one place that counts. Fast and even, yes. Good for the plant, no. So what does the rule look like as actual kit? It is the difference between watering from above and watering at the ground. On one side, the overhead approach, a sprinkler or a hose waved over the top. It wets all the foliage. A lot evaporates before it ever soaks in, and it hands 3 diseases their doorway. On the other side, watering at the base, a drip line or soaker hose laid along the ground. Or simply a watering can held down low at the roots. The water goes straight to the soil where the roots can drink it. The leaves stay dry. Far less is lost to evaporation, and you have shut the door on those diseases. This is the part people miss about drip irrigation and soaker hoses. Everyone talks about them saving water, and they do. But the quieter benefit is that they keep your plants healthier, because by their very design they water the roots and never the leaves. A drip system is not just an efficiency upgrade, it is a disease prevention system that happens to save water too. Same rule, made automatic. For me, on shift work, the trick is making the rule happen automatically, whether I am there or not. This is the kit I run on my own tap, the Johgee 4-zone timer. A hub sits indoors by the router and talks by radio out to the tap, and it feeds soaker lines laid along the base of the beds. So every morning the water goes to the roots, the leaves stay dry, and I am not standing there with a hose wetting foliage before an early start. Roots wet, leaves dry, done for me. But I want to be really clear, because this whole episode is about a free rule. You do not need any of this to follow it. A watering can held down low at the base does exactly the same job for nothing. The rule is free. A timer just automates it for the days you are not home. So let us finish with the free version, because that is the heart of this. You can follow the golden rule today without spending a penny. First, aim low. Whatever you are using, a can or a hose, put the spout or the end right down at the base of the plant, at the soil, and let the water go in there. Keep it off the leaves. Take the rose off the end of your watering can for veg and roses. That sprinkler head is the enemy here, and just pour from the spout at the ground. Second, if you must use a hose, lay it on the ground and let it trickle at the base rather than spraying up and over. Third, water in the morning where you can, so that any splashes that do land on leaves dry off quickly in the day instead of sitting wet all night. And fourth, when you plant, leave a bit of space so air moves through and leaves dry faster. None of that costs anything. It is just a change of aim and a change of habit. Point the water at the ground, not the plant, and you have taken on 4 diseases with 1 free move. This rule is quietly agreed on wherever experienced gardeners gather, even if they phrase it in their own way. Ask on the forums how people keep their roses or their tomatoes clean, and past all the arguments about sprays and varieties, the same plain advice keeps surfacing. Keep water off the leaves. Water in the morning, at the base, and let the foliage dry. It is not glamorous advice. Nobody gets excited about the angle you hold a watering can at, but the people who have grown for decades, who have lost enough plants to learn the hard way like I did, come back to it again and again. It is one of those rare bits of gardening wisdom that is free, simple, and genuinely works. So you are not being asked to take my word alone. You are joining a long line of gardeners who all wrote the same thing at the bottom of their own disaster reports, and then changed where they pointed the water.